We are all traveling swiftly towards the Major League Baseball trade deadline. And no doubt the already active morning continues this afternoon in St. Petersburg, under 27 hours until that deadline. But today we have baseball. It's the Yankees against the Rays in the final game of a 3-game set from Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Hey everybody, Ryan Rucco alongside David Cohn. Happy to be with you on this Sunday afternoon here on Picks 11. It's already been a very active morning for the New York Yankees. We want to take you through what has happened thus far. The Yankees dealing their all-star reliever Andrew Miller to the Indians, acquiring 4 highly regarded prospects in return: Clint Frazier, Justice Sheffield, Ben Heller, and J.P. Fireeisen. That's not all the Yankees have done, though. They've also acquired Tyler Clippard, who, of course, started his career with the Yankees. He will now support that pen. The Yankees sending to the Diamondbacks Vicente Campos. Brian Cashman had a conference call a little while ago, among other things. Cashman saying, "We're in buy-sell mode. We're entertaining all aspects. Warren and Clippard are an effort to give the manager pieces to continue to fight. Stay tuned. There's a lot more things that could happen." As for the manager, here's Joe Girardi's thoughts on losing Andrew Miller.
And he was special. He was special on the field, and he was special off the field and in the clubhouse, and it's going to be hard without him. But we have to move on. I mean, that's the bottom line. And Dellin will assume the closer roles. And like I said, Andrew's going to be missed. We're going to go out and compete. I mean, that's the bottom line. And, you know, this club is, you know, we're frustrated too. I mean, we're frustrated where we're at, but we're going to go out and play hard.
I don't think anyone's doubting that, David. We know this Yankee team is going to compete and play hard, but it does feel like a monumental day for this franchise.
Oh, without a doubt. You could hear a pin drop in that Yankee clubhouse before the game, trying to get guys to talk about this. Andrew Miller's so popular in that clubhouse. Cleveland Indians just swung the balance of power, certainly in the American League. He is a great reliever, at or near the top, without a doubt. I think when Andrew Miller signed that contract, Ryan, I think the last thing he thought about was that he would get traded from the Yankees. He didn't need a no-trade clause. Well, check that. I guess apparently you did. Very important leverage for players to have that in their contracts. Andrew did not have it, so he was wide open to be traded to just about any team.
And he ends up going to the Indians. Now, what did Andrew Miller think about that? We'll find out from the man himself. He caught up with Meredith Marakovits. That's coming up next on Picks 11.
Baseball on Pix 11. I'm Meredith Morakovitz. Andrew Miller is headed to Cleveland after a trade was finalized with the Indians earlier today. I had the opportunity to catch up with Andrew Miller. I asked him what his initial reaction was when he found out he had been traded.
Obviously a little taken aback. I think I knew it was a possibility, but first thing in the morning to hear it is a little bit of a shock. But you know, it is what it is. It's the way the game goes, and you know, hopefully end up in a good spot, and it certainly seems that way.
You had talked in the clubhouse about how much you enjoyed your time in New York. What was it about New York and this team that you liked?
You know, it was a great city. I think, you know, you mentioned the team. The teammates here are awesome. It's a great group of guys. I had a lot of fun, you know, getting to know some of these guys and play with them. And you know, there's a lot of people I'll keep up with and be pulling for in the future. So, you know, I think that'll be a lasting memory. But this city is great. The fans have been great. It's you know, to get to put on that uniform and play in front of those fans is as good as it gets.
Your name has been mentioned as far as potential trades in spring training already. What have the emotions been like for you this year and really leading up to the deadline?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it hasn't seemed to go away like you said, but, you know, it's the reality of it. I had no control over it. So, you know, like I've told you guys all along, try to focus on the hitter at hand, and, you know, everything else will take care of itself. What
will you remember most about your time here in New York?
I think just, you know, the relationships, the people, and, you know, I had a good experience here. I think, you know, I wish we would have accomplished a little bit more. I think, you know, making the playoffs last year was a lot of fun, and, you know, it's a good group of guys, and the future's bright.
As far as this afternoon's game is concerned, a couple lineup notes. Alex Rodriguez is not in there. Instead, it'll be Carlos Beltran DHing. Also, Mark Teixeira has the afternoon off. Plenty more to come here on Pix 11 when we get back. Ryan Rucco will be joined by David Cohn after the break.
Baseball is brought to you by Hyundai. It's go time at the Hyundai Summer Sales Event. Hyundai, not just new, better. By Raymore and Flanagan Furniture, furnishing your style. By the Kia Top Quality Sales Event. Visit TriStateKiaDealers.com to learn more. By McDonald's. Download the McDonald's app today for exclusive offers and coupons. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit Geico.com for a free rate quote. And by ChevyOffers.com. Gorgeous day for sailing, and inside the dome it's always a nice day for baseball to check out the Devil Rays, the Stingrays in this case. Yankees and Rays getting ready to play the final game of a three-game set. Already been an active morning, and Brett Gardner will lead things off for the Yankees. The
Yankees have dropped 3 straight, including the first 2 of this series. As documented in the open, Andrew Miller is on his way to Cleveland. The Yankees getting a quartet of highly regarded prospects. And one more baseball game to be played before tomorrow's 4 p.m. trading deadline. As Brett Gardner looks at ball 1 from young Blake Snell. Snell actually made his major league debut against the Yankees back on April 23rd.
On the season, young Blake Snell has really been better as of late. 22 and 40 on walks to strikeouts, so strikeouts pretty good, walks a little high.
The 1-1 outside.
Let's go ahead and give you your pitcher scouting report, brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. He is the consensus top prospect in the Rays organization. Pretty much everybody agrees with that. Really good fastball, kind of a rising fastball. When it's up in the zone, it's hard to square up, and a really good curveball off of that rising fastball.
This is actually the first time that he's facing a team for a second time. And so Kevin Cash was curious as to what kind of adjustments the hitters will make after having some video and experience on Snell now. The 3-1 high, and that's what David was talking about, the control issues as Gardner walks. Let's take a look at the Yankees starting lineup, brought to you by Land Rover Above and Beyond. Now, there was a late change to this lineup. Not the top with Gardner, Ellsbury, and Beltran in there at the DH. Castro batting cleanup today. McCann 5th. But Headley and Gregorius actually were flipped late. Gregorius was initially in the 6th spot and Headley 7, but they flip. Rob Refsnyder gets the start at first, and Aaron Hicks batting 9th, playing right field. And Snell immediately going to have Luke Maile, the catcher, come out and talk to him. Now, I wonder, David, if it's any more difficult today to focus on the task at hand if you're on this field, and not just for the Yankees who've been more active thus far, but for the Rays as well, who have a lot of their players in trade rumors now that you're right up against the cusp of the deadline.
Yeah, it's a very uncertain time for a lot of players, especially the ones that know about all the rumors with social media today. Nothing is hidden. So in real-time information, I bet you got some guys sneaking in the clubhouse checking their smart devices and trade rumors.
Getting their alerts. Ellsbury pops that foul down the left field line. Longoria cannot make the play. Was there, but did not haul it in.
Well, we've noted how much room there is over there to work, and Longoria goes a long way, actually gets there, but not quite as he reaches at the minute. And you see Ellsbury's watching it, a little body language, get out of here. It's not going to get out of here, but you caught a break right there.
The 1-1 is a strike from Snell, 1-2.
I think when you look at young lefty here, Snell, you know, it's not a top-end velocity type situation with him, but the life on his pitches is excellent. Spin rate, good break on his curveball.
Ellsbury fights that off foul.
Guess you could sort of equate it to the former Yankee closer David Robertson, who threw about 93 miles an hour, but he always had this late life on his pitches, all of his pitches. Snell very similar in that regard.
know, Robertson always was throwing 93, playing at 98, 99, it seemed like, with the swings he would get against him. Ellsbury rips that right to first, off the glove of Franklin. Recovering behind him is Beckham for the out. On to second goes Gardner. And that could have easily been a double play.
Well, good contact and just off the glove. You know, Franklin, not a lot of experience over first base, playing even with the bag, holding on the runner, so this is going to get to you in a hurry. All you do is react, and at least he caught a piece of it, which got him one out.
Franklin recently recalled when Logan Morrison went on the DL just before the start of this series. Here's Carlos Beltran. Big hack from Beltran, fouls right back. A lot of people wondered whether or not Beltran would be in the lineup today, with him being a free agent to be, and his name also being in different trade rumors, but obviously he is in there. And Brian Cashman, as we showed you the quote in the open, has said, stay tuned, there could be more subtractions or more additions. Weak wave there on a nasty off-speed delivery from Snell.
Well, the Yankees in a tricky position with Beltran. They're going to get another look at Snell's good curveball, straight down, excellent spin. It's Beltran way out in front. He's their best offensive player, but also a free agent at the end of the year, so a catch-22 for the Yankees.
The 0-2. 95 on the fastball from Snell. Gardner off second. He started this game with a walk. The 0-2 in the dirt. No, I'm sure also, David, a lot of Yankees fans are curious about the really highly touted prospects that they received from the Indians, and throughout the broadcast we will do our job, and Meredith has info and a lot of different scouting reports to help fill you guys in on the new Yankees that are going to be in their system. The 1-2, swing and a miss. Another good breaking ball from Snell. 2 down. Take a look at the defense that the Rays have, brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Same starting outfield, Corey Dickerson, the electrifying Kevin Kiermaier, and then Steven Souza Jr. In the infield is Evan Longoria, Brad Miller, Tim Beckham, Nick Franklin, and Luke Maile catching Blake Snell. Here's Starlin Castro batting cleanup, with no Mark Teixeira, no Alex Rodriguez in the lineup. Swing and a miss. And Snell is getting a lot of funny looking swings.
Well, that just shows you the quality of his stuff, and that's why he is such a top prospect. But veteran hitters are getting fooled badly here the first go round. We talked about that good curveball that Snell features. This one bounces almost in front of the plate in a underwater swing from Castro.
That time he looks at a breaking ball strike. Snell is 23, but he could pass for younger.
He shaves once a month.
The 1-2. Strike three, 95 miles an hour. An impressive first inning for Blake Snell as he strikes out Beltran and Castro to end the frame. Michael Pineda deals next. It is brought to you by the Honda Summer Clearance Event. Logan Forsythe DHing, leads off. Brad Miller back at short. Homered yesterday, will bat second. Evan Longoria in the 3 spot. Corey Dickerson and all of his power bats cleanup. Steven Souza Jr. hits 5th, followed by Kevin Kiermaier, the red-hot Tim Beckham, Nick Franklin, and then Luke Maile.
Here's Big Mike finishing up his warm-ups. Two more. I'm ready. 2 more pitches. On the year, this will be his 21st start. The numbers are not good, except for the walks and the strikeouts, and that's the mystery of Michael Pineda right there. I mean, talent galore. Been better of late, and let's go ahead and tell you why. And with the pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers, and the left-hand turn, his last 10 starts, left-handers are just batting 139 off of him after batting over 350 in his first 10 starts. So that's a pretty significant turnaround. The strikeout slider over his last 2 starts, 35% of the sliders he's thrown have been swung and missed at. That's incredibly high and a value proposition. Throw him in the mix too. A lot of scouts watching him, trying to assess value. Should the Yankees keep him? What can he bring back?
And David talked about the success of late from Pineda. Last 2 starts, 2 wins, 13 innings, has allowed just 1 run, 16 strikeouts to 4 walks. Allowed that leadoff home run in his last start in Houston, but immediately settled down. It was dominant. Joe Girardi called it probably his best start of the year.
Michael Pineda is obviously, as Yankee fans have seen, so talented at times and really a puzzle at other times. And sabermetrics generation and really the talent evaluators that are metrics generated nowadays, boy, we're even confused by Pineda at this point, because strikeouts and walks, all of his peripheral numbers are fantastic except for the big inning and the homers. But certainly much better as of late. His last 2 starts have been good. It's been on again, off again, but undoubtedly Michael Pineda, still young, mid-90s fastball and an unhittable slider when it's thrown right.
27 years old. A 2-2. Driven in the air to left center. Ellsbury over, as is Gardner. It'll be Ellsbury who puts it away for the first out. Take a look at the Yankees defense. It's brought to you by the Kia Top Quality Sales Event. In the outfield, Gardner and Ellsbury, along with Aaron Hicks getting the start at right. Headley, Gregorius Castro, and Ref Snyder gets the start at first, and then Brian McCann catches Michael Pineda. Here is Brad Miller, who has tortured the Yankees in this series. A double and triple on Friday, and then a home run yesterday in the first off of Nathan Eovaldi, and now a single or a grounder right back to Pineda. Gloved nicely, and 1 pitch, 1 out there against Miller.
Every player's got walk-up music now, Ryan. One of the biggest changes I've seen in the game. Nobody asked me for a walkout song when I pitch.
You never had one?
Never had a walkout song.
How about when you batted in the National League?
Never. Actually, I did choose the Sopranos theme song one year, late in the 90s. They came to me. I said, "What do you mean? You want to? What's your walk-up song or your walkout song?" I said, "Put the Sopranos on."
And that's what you would warm up to.
1999.
Castro puts it away, and that'll end the first. A nice, easy, efficient 8-pitch 1-2-3 first for Michael Pineda. The keys to the game, they're brought to you by Hyundai, not just new, but better.
Yes, and obviously the big story, the trade deadline, what happened to Andrew Miller, the Yankee distractions. Can you block that out? Make Snell work. We talked about Blake Snell, very talented young lefty, but a little bit of a control issue. Try to make him work his pitch count up, and then of course the Pineda homer watch. Keep the ball in the ballpark.
You talk about the distractions, David. Brian McCann is a guy whose name has started to surface out in trade rumors, and before the game he was very somber in the clubhouse, talking about being disappointed to see Andrew Miller go, but saying we just didn't play well enough. And he also was asked whether or not he has been asked about his no trade clause, and Brian McCann said no one's come to me yet about that.
Well, I think the interesting twist this morning of all the deals, especially with regard to the Cleveland Indians, was the catcher in Milwaukee, Lucroy's decision to veto the trade.
Yeah.
He had leverage of no trade clause, at least to 9 different teams in his contract, and Miller had no such clause.
3-0 is a strike.
So a tale of 2 trades. You know, that's not to say that the Lucroy trade won't go down, as Cleveland had a deal in place with the Brewers for their talented catcher. But as of now, it's a dead deal, which opens up more speculation for Brian McCann.
McCann looks at strike 3, third straight K from Blake Snell.
Frozen. Really good quality. Curveball with tight spin, started right at McCann. Watch McCann just buckle and right over the inside corner.
Let's bring in Meredith Marakovitz for a little more on McCann.
Well, Ryan, I actually spoke to Brian McCann in the clubhouse after the game last night, and I asked him if he had heard any of the buzz that the Braves might be interested in a reunion, and he said he tries his best not to pay attention to any of that stuff. He said if he pays attention to that, he's not doing his job. His main focus is on winning and trying to remain a key member of this team. He was asked again whether or not he would consider going back to the Braves, waiving that no trade clause, and he said that's the last thing from his mind right now. He hasn't even allowed his mind to kind of wander that way, but you have to wonder, after all the questions are asked multiple times, days in a row, if he starts to wonder whether or not that could be a possibility.
Especially in his case, it's a decision potentially to make. When somebody like Andrew Miller talks about, hey, it's out of my control, it's out of his control. In Brian McCann's case, Meredith, it actually, should something happen, it would be his decision.
Well, it's funny because somebody asked him last night and he said simply that, it's out of my control, and they brought to his attention, well, no, in this case, you're the one that can waive the no trade clause. He just kind of turned around and smiled and said, let's focus on the team right now. So he doesn't want to talk about it at all. I'm sure it'll be brought up again as we approach the trade deadline tomorrow, but it would be an interesting case. He is from that area. He spent a lot of years with the Braves and really liked that organization. So time will tell exactly what the future of Brian McCann holds.
When you're talking about Brian McCann and the Atlanta Braves, that's not a sense of urgency with that particular trade, but the LaCroix deal off the table now, that makes things a little more speculative with regard to McCann and whether or not the Indians would be interested in Brian McCann or not. Obviously, they're looking for a catcher. They need a catcher. So it's just pure speculation, but certainly in the argument on agents, his agent's better than most. You get a full no trade clause. Andrew Miller, I might want to have a conversation with my agent.
Now full on Chase Headley. Headley was flipped with Didi Gregorius in the batting order. At first, Gregorius was hitting 6th, and then the Yankees flip-flopped. Headley up to 6. Headley has been hot over the last 5 games, 7 for 15, 4 ribbies. And another strikeout for Blake Snell. He has now fanned 4 in a row.
Well, this is his 3rd pitch. A straight change. Headley way out in front, 85 miles an hour. Good arm speed, sells it very well. And he's got 3 quality pitches. I mean, that's his 3rd best pitch, and that one looked pretty good right there.
Here's Didi Gregorius, average at 295. And behind that 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
I'm not sure if you can teach life, Ryan. You know, everybody likes to look at the radar guns in terms of velocity, but there's a difference between velocity and life and spin rate. Snell's got a really high spin rate. See, that ball just jumps up in the zone with life. And 94 miles an hour, that's nice velocity, right? It's above average, but he gets swings like it's 98 miles an hour. I think you can teach spin rate. Just a personal theory of mine. You know, wrist action, discipline with your wrist through the zone. Sort of like shooting a free throw and spinning the basketball. I think young kids can be taught to spin the baseball, but probably more natural than anything at this point for Snell.
0-2 on Gregorius. David, when you are intentionally trying to get some of that spin with that wrist action, is that any extra strain or torque on your arm?
I don't believe so. No, I think actually it can take some torque off of your arm if you use your wrist. You really use your whole body, your legs. It's really a total body move towards home plate. I would want to use every weapon I have in terms of body parts, and wrist action, fingertip pressure. A real disciplined wrist position can affect spin rate. So mechanically speaking, yes, I believe it can be taught. Now we have StatCast. Now we have metrics, you know, new school technology to gauge who has the higher spin rate. Very important in evaluation.
Gregorius, another awkward looking hack, and Blake Snell is mowing him down. 5 straight strikeouts. New York Yankees baseball is brought to you by Hands of Stone, the true story of Roberto Duran, starring Edgar Ramirez, Robert De Niro, and Usher Raymond. Take a look. Offers and coupons. Well, this is what David was talking about. Jonathan Lucroy, the talented young catcher for the Brewers, vetoed his trade from Milwaukee to Cleveland. Matt Kemp was dealt from the Padres to the Braves yesterday, and Mark Melancon, former Yankee, traded from the Pirates to the Nationals as they look to shore up the back end of their bullpen.
It's a good deal for the Nationals. Mark Melanson has been as consistent as anybody over the last several years, and they didn't have to give up any of their top prospects.
Melanson's had a sub-2 ERA 3 of the last 4 seasons. And now this is a different trade deadline this year. Baseball fans know it's usually July 31st. This year it's August 1st. And some people may wonder, well, why is it August 1st this year? And part of the reason is the 31st was falling on a Sunday, a lot of day games, and it may have really flipped the results of certain games based on guys being held out of the lineup or leaving in the middle of a game, which obviously could still happen today, but the chaos always seems at its highest just before the deadline.
Just another night for GMs to stay up all night, as Brian Cashman probably did last night.
And it helps the managers tomorrow to know who they have at 4 o'clock before playing. Not going to help Brian Cashman sleep, though, for at least one more day.
Job description, sleep deprivation, Major League General Manager.
He still sounded sharp on the conference call, though. And very excited and energized by the prospects the Yankees got back from the Indians. And you think about these 2 deals that the Yankees did, David, and suddenly the Yankees have 7 top 100 prospects, which matches the Astros as the only teams in baseball with that, according to Baseball America.
Yes, they really got some talent back, and really by all measures, anybody who's seen these kids play are raving about the talent that the Yankees hauled back.
That's smashed right center field. Long run for Ellsbury. He won't get there. It's off the wall. Racing into second and holding on with a double is Corey Dickerson.
Well, we've seen Dickerson's power in this series so far, and that is supposed to be down and away, and it ends up middle, and it is hammered. And Pineda catches a break that it actually stays in the ballpark. And Dickerson, tremendous bat speed as he continues to mash right-handed pitching.
Here is Souza Jr.
One of the things that has plagued Michael Pineda is the command of the fastball. He's got good velocity and good movement, cutting action, right to left movement, as you see from the center field camera. But you're trying to throw it outside or inside, it drifts over the middle a lot.
Souza went around.
So that, you know, when you're on the mound, that's a tough thing to deal with. When you're trying to hit an outside corner and it drifts over the middle and it's unintended. That's when you can get really frustrating for a catcher and a pitcher. So really, you can boil Michael Pineda's troubles all year long when he's been inconsistent is to fastball command. Unintended consequences with kind of a natural cutting fastball that doesn't go where he wants it to a lot of times.
Swing and a miss, 94 miles an hour upstairs from Pineda. That's something, David, you've talked about a lot in this series that Joe Girardi is focused on in regards to Michael Pineda for his effectiveness lately, elevating the fastball.
Yes, you know, at the top of the zone, if you can throw enough strikes at the top of the zone and then work up the ladder, as they say, as you see, that's just above the belt. So for a pitcher, if you're trying to exploit the up and down game, you kind of key in on the mask of the catcher and then up the rung of the ladder from there. Saw Jake Odorizzi do that the first night very well, all night long. Strikes right at the top of the zone and then right on above to get a lot of swings and misses. And if you're a four-seam fastball pitcher, that's where you need to live, at the top of the zone and up.
As a result, Odorizzi threw 6 2/3 innings of shutout ball. The 1-2. Check swing, might have gone around. Ball skips away from McCann on to third. Safely goes Dickerson. It is a strikeout. Souza went around, but the runner advances with just 1 out.
Souza does not agree. I certainly do, and you know my rule is the NFL end zone rule. If you break the plane of the front of the plate, it should be a swing. And from this side angle, I think you'll see it again. This is my theory, and it does. It breaks the plane of the front of the plate, similar to football, an analogy, the end zone, breaking the plane of the end zone. That's my soapbox preaching for the day. I think we can solve this whole check swing thing just with a simple breaking of the plane rule.
No, I like it. You're a powerful man. People listen to you. You can get rules changed. And at least there'd be a little science behind it then. Because it always feels very arbitrary.
Yeah, the whole breaking of the wrist thing just never really worked for me.
Yeah. Well, I can break my wrist and not have the bat come anywhere near the strike zone. Now, generally it would, but...
You know, my point being is that there's a lot of hitters that can check a swing where their bat enters the strike zone and foul off a pitch and spoil a pitch, but then it wouldn't be called a check swing by the umpire had they not made contact.
Just outside. Pineda wanted that, 2-0.
Just around the dish.
Kiermaier helped give the Rays a late inning cushion yesterday when he led off the 7th with what looked like a single to right, turned into a hustle double. Followed that up with a steal of third. Scored the first of 3 runs that increased the Rays lead from 3-2 to 6-2, and then the following inning made it a terrific catch, leaping up against the wall in right center. And 4 straight balls to Kiermaier. Runners on first and third for Tim Beckham.
Second baseman, number 1, Tim Beckham.
Beckham has been red hot, hitting .545 since the All-Star break. 6 ribbies, 7 runs over that span. So the Rays, even though he's been, for the most part this year, just playing against left-handed pitching when they sit Brad Miller, the Rays now trying to find him some at-bats 2 days in a row starting against righties.
And a booming two-run home run yesterday to dead center.
Kiermaier started and stopped. Beckham was laying down the bunt on what looked to be a safety squeeze.
That's exactly what that was. The play's the old Don Zimmer play. If you can get the ball on the ground and bunt it to the first baseman who's holding on the runner, then the third base runner can just walk home. So this is not a sacrifice bunt. This is a safety squeeze and not well executed and on a high slider from Pineda.
Beckham, former number 1 overall pick in the 2008 draft. Strike 2, 95 miles an hour and well spotted. Throw over to first. Rob Refsnyder manning first today. Mark Teixeira getting the day off after playing the first 2 games on the turf. Still dealing with that knee issue, which is something that he's just going to have to deal with throughout this entire season. Kiermaier goes, swing and a miss. The throw down to second on the money. but not in time. Kiermaier beats it as Beckham goes down on strikes.
Well executed from McCann on a slider down and away to be able to make it this close. Kiermaier just kind of outruns it. Gets the hand in under the tag from that vision as well, from that shot.
Can't make a better throw than that.
It's risky play by the Rays. As you see, they've almost run themselves out of this inning. First with a suicide squeeze attempt that put Beckham down 0-1, and then Kiermaier challenging McCann there.
So Michael Pineda trying to leave these runners stranded. Now 2 outs after a strikeout of Souza, a strikeout of Beckham, with the double and walk in between. And here's Nick Franklin. Now, the speculation behind Franklin starting at first today is Steve Pearce has been the subject of a lot of trade rumors. Some reports have gone as far as to say the Rays will move Steve Pearce, and so Pearce not in the Rays lineup this afternoon.
It's a very reasonable assumption. Steve Pearce has a lot of value out there, and play both corner positions, play some outfield. Certainly handles left-handed pitching very well.
An OPS of over 1,100 against lefties this year. Here's the 1-0. Strike one. The 1-1. Check swing. He didn't go. 2-1. Let's see your rule, David.
Did not break the plane. The plane is right there. Good call.
Runners on second and third. Bottom of the second. No score. Final game of this 3-game set. A 2-1. 3-1. And Luke Maile, the rookie catcher, is on deck. That is down ball 4. And the base is now loaded for Maile as Pineda, rare to see, has walked 2 in this inning. A quick meeting with Michael Pineda as Luke Maile steps up. Now, the other night we had mentioned the recent incompetence for Rays catchers with runners in scoring position. On the season, Maile, who was just recalled on July 15th, 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Small sample size, but very good. The rest of the catchers combined, Casali and Hank Conger, 7 for 72. That's 0.97. Maile looks at strike one.
Well, catching is very thin this year, especially in the American League. That's why we're seeing so much speculation. The LaCroix trade that he vetoed, the speculation on Brian McCann. Really, there's Salvador Perez, offensively speaking, with the highest OPS, and then Brian McCann is second offensively in a lot of rankings.
Maile grounds that foul. So as much as it feels like, and to some degree compared to past years has been a struggle for McCann, comparatively it's still a lot of production from the catcher's position.
Yes, catchers, you know, it's a hot commodity nowadays, trying to find good catchers. You have to do the comparative analysis position to position. You know, when you look at Brian McCann, people think, oh, he's having a down year, 235. Well, his on-base percentage actually is pretty good. 15 home runs. His overall offensive numbers are second best in the American League.
Pineda trying to wiggle out of trouble.
And of course, on the other side of the ball, the framing ability, calling a game, the defensive metrics. Brian McCann has always been very good in those metrics.
And in the intangibles as well, as a leader in the clubhouse, a voice of the team. Here's a 1-2. Swing and a miss, and Pineda works out of trouble. He strikes out the side while also loading the bases. No score as we head to the third. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. This is the Yankees' new prospects and where they rank in Baseball America's midseason top 100. Now, Jorge Mateo is 19th, Clint Frazier 21st, Gleyber Torres 27th, Gary Sanchez 36th, Aaron Judge 42, Justice Sheffield 69, James Caprillion 99. You see the ages on the right, Aaron Judge being the oldest at 24. A lot of 21, 19, and Clint Frazier, Justice Sheffield. Two of the Yankees acquired today from the Indians at 21 and 69. Those are significant prospects.
Yes, they are, and there's one glaring omission there. Is the #1 draft from this year, Blake Rutherford, who is off to a sizzling start in Pulaski in high A ball, or low A ball rather. So theoretically, Ryan, you could look at a future Yankee outfield of Aaron Judge in right field and Blake Rutherford in center field and Clint Frazier in left field. So it's certainly something the Yankees are considering and looking at down the road. Hard to project and predict, but that's what you're looking at, and a lot of talent.
Refsnyder grounds that hard, bobbled by Longoria, no play. We'll see how they score it as Refsnyder reaches.
Got some spin on it. You could see what a great camera angle. It almost had a little snake on that spin and just eats up Longoria. Well struck. Looks like it's hooking, and it kind of comes back and hops up on Longoria. So that's a little subtle bad hop.
And it is an E5 on Evan Longoria.
I'm not a professional scorekeeper, but I empathize with Longoria on that play because of the spin and the hop. It was a tough play.
Ended a string of 5 straight strikeouts from Snell as Hicks shows bunt, lays it down, foul. Not a bad idea for the struggling Hicks, but couldn't keep it fair. You know, Hicks was actually brought up today as we take a look at that bunt attempt.
Pretty close to hitting him twice as he got out of the box.
Hicks was brought up by Brian Cashman on his conference call addressing a trade with the Indians. He was asked about the underperforming offense this year, and one of the players that he brought up was Aaron Hicks, and said obviously he hasn't come close to meeting the expectations that I had for him, but as Hicks swings and misses. He brought up Jackie Bradley Jr. as a cautionary tale and his struggles at the major league level with the Red Sox and what he's turned into, saying obviously that organization did a great job developing him, but had to walk through some fire and show some patience.
It's a good point. Patience, very difficult for organizations to stay with a young player.
By the way, David, I think the official score today is listening to you, and Ref Snyder's ground ball has been changed to a hit. So Evan Longoria, you're in the clear.
You got to get some love from your home scorer.
The 1-2. Popped up to second. Beckham puts it away, and Hicks's struggles continue. Here's Brett Gardner, walked in the first. Strike 1 to Gardner.
You know, I mentioned before, we showed all the prospects in the haul that the Yankees got, Ryan. Blake Rutherford, this year's #1 draft pick. Boy, he's an exciting looking young player. 19 years old now.
Almost hit for the cycle the other night, I believe.
Yeah, he had a couple straight 4 for 5 days. He's hitting well over 400 in Pulaski, which is considered low A ball. But my former roommate and former Major League pitcher, Mark Gubaza, who does the Angels games, was his coach in high school, or actually Little League out in California, and just raved about Rutherford. The skill set. Claims he was the real deal. The Yankees got a steal at the 18th pick. They got him. He fell down because of signability issues, but he's off to a tremendous start in his young professional career for the Yankees. Very exciting.
Well, Mike with no talent at this level, too. Mark would. A lot of people had talked about Rutherford as a potential top 10 pick, but they weren't sure whether or not he was willing to sign or was going to go to college. So the Yankees got him at 18. As Gardner looks at strike 2. 1-2 from Snell. Blocked beautifully by Maile. Keeps Refsnyder anchored at first.
Another one of those Snell curveballs that has such tight spin, and that's why the Rays are so excited about Snell. His rising four-seam fastball up and that straight 12-6 curveball, very complementary towards each other. So, and you mix in a pretty good changeup off of that. Sky's the limit for this kid. He's the #1 starter in the making.
A 2-2. Fouled away. Now Jim Hickey has been a pitching coach for a lot of talented starters here with the Rays. This is his 10th year, and he has said that he thinks that Blake Snell has a chance to be in that class with, say, a David Price when it comes to talented Rays lefties.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, you try to project a ceiling on a player, a young player, very difficult to do, but at a minimum a #2 starter and potentially top of the rotation.
The 2-2. Gardner whacks that into left field for a base hit. Sliding cut off by Dickerson will hold Refsnyder at second, but a hard hit single from Gardner, and the Yankees have 2 on with 1 out.
Great job by Gardner getting on top of this. I mean, that's letter high. Good 2-strike approach. How about that? Choke up and go the other way. It's an old school thought nowadays. And Brett Gardner against a tough lefty. Nice job.
And now 2 on for Jacoby Ellsbury. Up and into Ellsbury, ball 1. Yankees 2 for 14 this series with runners in scoring position. A 5-1 loss in the opener of the series. 6-3 last night.
One of our keys to the game was make Snell work. So pitch number 54 here in the top of the 3rd.
That's the thing sometimes when you're piling up the strikeouts too.
Yes, it's a lot easier said than done. When you have good stuff and you're trying to promote quick outs or early count outs, sometimes you can't. They're fouling them off or swinging and missing. So
big swing from Ellsbury. Well, you saw the 38 pitches through the first 2 innings, and that included 5 straight strikeouts.
I'll take the swings and misses.
Yeah.
You know? Take the defense out of the equation. You know, talk about fielder independent pitching. One of the new metrics. What the pitcher can control by himself alone. Strikeouts, walks, homers, and of course hit batters.
Refsnyder was taking his lead when Snell looked him back.
A lot of people think the Yankees are lucky to be 500 with their offensive output this year. It just shows you the end of the game, that bullpen, the ability to strike hitters out, take the pressure off of the defense.
Ellsbury swings and misses, 2-2. 95 miles an hour there from Snell. A 2-2 from the 23-year-old lefty is high, count full on Ellsbury. Carlos Beltran on deck. Do have some speed on the bases with Refsnyder and Gardner. They don't go. Ellsbury fouls it off. Pretty consistently 95 with that fastball.
A lot of late swings, a lot of pop-ups. It's very hard to square up. So he's not the type of pitcher that's a put-it-and-play type pitcher, as you mentioned, Ryan. He's not the type of guy that's going to get a lot of quick outs. He'll get some strikeouts, though.
Pillsbury put Beltran's life in danger there with that check swing.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been called a check swing right there. That's my case in point right there about revising the check swing rule.
Ball doesn't hit his bat, he walks.
It's either that or strike
strikes
three.
out, right. That was dangerously close to Beltran.
Now, this is a pitch that's spoiled. That would not have been called strike three, but yet he just spoiled a pitch that was potentially strike three.
Chopped toward the middle, glove, touch of the bag, onto first for the double play. Nifty footwork by Brad Miller. And the threat ends as Jacoby Ellsbury grounds into the 6-3 DP. The new movie Hands of Stone in theaters everywhere August 26th. Yankees will play 4 against the Mets, and then look who comes to town next weekend. Andrew Miller and the Indians. Bottom of the third inning. Blake Snell able to work out of trouble, getting Jacoby Ellsbury to ground into the inning-ending double play. You know, Miller was asked about that, how quickly he's going to be facing his former team, and the part he brought up was how it will actually help the logistics of him moving. He'll have the weekend to move out of Manhattan. He was also getting the scouting report from CC Sabathia on Cleveland and what to expect there. Strike three looking. Forsythe is down. 4th K for Pineda. Now, speaking of CC, tomorrow he'll be on the hill against Logan Verrett, and then Masahiro Tanaka faces Jacob deGrom. Great pitching matchup. Coverage on Yes at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Remember, that is going to be, I mean, that's going to be a juicy show. You've got the trade deadline will be over by then. The Subway Series beginning. So Bob and Jack are going to be all over it. David, we saw the top 100 prospect list before for the Yankees, and Clint Frazier, Justice Sheffield, two of the newly acquired players who were on it for the Yankees. But they also got a couple of relievers who have outstanding numbers in the minor leagues, Ben Heller and J.P. Fireeisen. Heller's going to go right to AAA. So it's fouled back here. Right above us. You were ready, David. That came close. Like right up here. I think we have it. Let's see.
You know, you find out in the heat of the battle who the gamers are. Who's the gamers? You find out. Heat of battle.
You were ready to claw that, and I was going to let you. As Miller goes down on strikes. I just appreciate that, you were willing to save me there, David. That was pretty close.
It was right above us. Yes. Hit the facade right above.
Just had to sink down an inch. Would have gotten in here. Did you see the way John and Susan, they ducked for cover? They've already dealt with that this year.
We've seen them.
Yeah.
Well, Susan, you got to make that play. This is the big leagues.
Did you notice that after the first game of the series, Susan decided to post all of these papers so she doesn't have to look at us anymore? So our booths are connected, so there's just a glass window separating us. But now, look, I mean, Susan doesn't have to worry about seeing us. She wanted no part of it.
You know I adore them. John and Susan, boy, there's just nobody like them.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Pineda strikes out the side. The last 6 Rays outs have come via strikeout. The gamer was ready. Almost called into action and ready to save a life. Better with a Bobo-pedic. Find out why at mybobs.com. Clint Frazier, the top prospect the Yankees received in the deal for Andrew Miller. A 2013 first-round pick, 5th overall. Right now the 21st best prospect in baseball, according to Baseball America's mid-season ranks. He has put up some impressive numbers. An 811 OPS. Anything over 800, very good. That's so far between double and AAA this year, and he was just recently promoted to AAA. And Brian Cashman said on the Yankees conference call today that he will go to Scranton to AAA. Here's what else he said. I think our fans should be very excited. Frazier is an electric bat. He's got all the tools. His bat speed is already legendary. A high energy guy who shows up for the national anthem in a dirty uniform. Beltran grounds it through. Snell. Can Beckham make a play? No. And Beltran reaches. And that's going to be a base hit for Beltran.
Well, 0-2 pitch. And kind of jammed, almost a changeup back to Snell as he was fooled. So tough break for Snell. Good pitch. Beltran will take it as you see the smile on his face. Almost a broken bat. Soft contact produces an infield hit.
Now, Brian Cashman was talking about the energy and electricity that Frazier plays with. He also said that he has legendary bat speed already and is going to play some left, some center, some DH. They want to continue his outfield versatility. He led the Carolina League in hits and doubles last year.
You know, the big difference between the Chapman trade and the Miller trade is that Clint Frazier's a lot closer to being ready for the big leagues. And obviously Torres, the young talented shortstop in the Chapman trade, he's still a couple of rungs away. You know, an A ball.
Castro swings at a 57-foot curve and is retired.
Well, Frazier's ready to knock on the door and get ready for the big leagues, maybe as soon as next year. And Gleyber Torres, very talented, but needs some more seasoning. You know, still just in high A ball. Castro's frustration, and there's a lot of frustration on that Yankee bench and in that clubhouse today.
And with that frustration, David, there was also ownership. Hey, we didn't play well enough to ensure that a player like Andrew Miller wouldn't be moved at the deadline. Brian McCann was one of the guys who talked about that.
Yeah, it was just hard to see a path forward to the Yankees contending down the stretch and then having a shot in postseason, especially considering Teixeira and Alex Rodriguez's struggles. And the record notwithstanding, of course they're still in it, 4.5 games out. If I'm in that clubhouse as a player, that's the way I would be talking. But from a front office standpoint, when you're looking for a path forward, it just was not there. 29th in extra base hits. The Yankees are the only team with less extra base hits is the Atlanta Braves coming into today's game. So unless Teixeira and Alex Rodriguez are hitting somewhere close to what they did last year, then there just isn't a path forward here.
Yankees with just 3 extra base hits in this series. As McCann was looking for one there, swung through it.
One thing in mind right there, right? McCann trying to go deep.
Snell with 6 strikeouts. An elevated pitch count, 70 already with 1 out here in the 4th. The 2-2 to McCann. Did he go around? He did not. And a nice stop there by Maile to hold Beltran at first.
A lot of check swings in this game. Shows you the stuff of Snell. Pretty good angle, pretty good call.
Full count on McCann. The payoff. Another check swing. McCann held up, ball 4, and the Yankees have 2 on for Headley. So the late lineup switch, flipping Didi Gregorius and Chase Headley. Means Headley comes up now with 2 on and 1 out.
Certainly makes sense. The switch hitting Headley protected McCann, and Snell with that great curveball, very tough on left-handed batters.
And Headley has been hot. And stays hot. Drops it into left field. Beltran had to hold up a bit, plus not necessarily the wheels to make it regardless. So the base is now loaded after another hit from Chase Headley.
Yes, you see Headley gets him out of the kitchen, fights it off. Not really a hit about exit velocity. It's just well located, got enough of it to get it over the infield. And of course, Beltran had to hesitate to make sure it was going to fall. And Headley will take it. Snell now in a bases loaded jam with pitch number 74 coming in the top of the 4th.
And Didi Gregorius, who has led the majors in batting average against the lefties this season, trying to go to work. It says a lefty hitter trying to go to work against Snell. Fouls one back. Coney, it's coming our way again. Oh, this time a little too high. Right over our head up there. Gregorius hits it hard, but could be 2, and is. Inning over. Well struck, but Gregorius unlucky, and the Yankees still not on the board. August 5th for the Yankees' first ever Star Wars night. There will be a special Star Wars theme throughout the night and appearances by some of your favorite Star Wars characters. In addition, the first 18,000 guests in attendance will receive a special R2-D2 Yankees knit cap. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com. Visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees Clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Bottom of the 4th inning, no score. And after the second straight inning where the Yankees hit into an inning-ending double play, well struck by Didi Gregorius with the bases loaded. Just past Headley and into left field. Corey Dickerson has his second hit of the game.
Well, clearly leading off the inning, Dickerson looks like he's trying to take a shot that way. Fights off this inside-out cutter right by a diving Headley. for a leadoff swing, leadoff single, and you can see clearly he's looking that way, trying to go that way. Especially leading off an inning 0-0 game. So that was by design.
For a power guy.
Yes, a guy who's hit 15 home runs this year against right-handed pitching. There's certainly a balance to the approach. You know, it's been debated about why don't guys try to beat the shift more often. Certainly late in the games with a close score. Leading off right here.
Nice slider there from Pineda.
I think we're seeing more and more players take shots to try to beat the shift. It's a trend that's moving in that direction. I think we're going to see more of that as well.
Would it bother you as a pitcher if you had ground balls that normally would be outs going through?
Well, I think it would be interesting to see the pendulum swing the other way, where you put pressure on the defense to not shift as much.
Gregorius off his glove, and that could be trouble. Racing to third is Dickerson. On to second goes Souza Jr., and the Rays are set up.
I'm going to call this a tough break for Pineda. Potentially a double play ball, but the ricochet off the diving Gregorius ends up setting up second and third, nobody out.
Number 39, Kevin
Looked like he was there, kind of got a big hop at the end off the heel of his glove. He's there, and Pineda on the mound. Uh-oh. Yeah, you got to back up at this point.
And that is going to be one of the odder doubles you will see. That's what it is. No error. Headley pulled in at third as Pineda delivers strike one. The rest of the Yankees infield playing back. Don't want to risk being in and having a ground ball single mean 2 runs, plus it's the 4th inning. The 0-1. Nice stop by McCann.
You know, Pineda very much a strikeout type pitcher, trying to get himself in a position here to get 2 strikes so he can use that devastating slider.
1-1. Not going to get it. A run will score. Castro not in time, or in time. In time to Refsnyder as Kiermaier went zooming down the line. Actually ended up crashing into first base umpire Doug Eddings. And that was close at first. Refsnyder ventured very far over. A lack of familiarity with the position.
Yes, and then you got to find the bag at the end, too. Ooh. Multitasking. Catch the ball and tag the base.
Number 1, Tampa.
Got to get another look at that.
Yeah.
Refsnyder, obviously inexperienced, ventured too far. Playing a little hot foot around the bag, but it looks like he's right up against it at this point.
Yeah, it looks like he's on it, but then he almost makes you think he wasn't because he did that extra pound down on the bag.
Yes.
But the Rays aren't going to challenge, so.
No, he was flush up against the side of the bag when he made the original catch.
That's right. 1-0 Tampa Bay after the chaotic finish to the ground ball to second. And now the Yankees infield will come in with just the lone runner on third and 1 out.
probably the toughest read for an inexperienced first baseman is when to break to the bag and when to let your second baseman go. Your tendency is to want to go try to catch everything.
We've seen that at times with Ref Snyder, learning that new position.
It's instinctual. When the ball's hit, you just react. The more experience you get, the more you anticipate the flow of the game, and you know where Castro's playing, you know what type of ball you have to go for and which one you have to break to the bag. But Ref Snyder was athletic enough to make the original mistake and still get back and make the play.
Pineda wants a strikeout. The 1-1 is fouled back, and now he's in position to deliver it. Already 6 strikeouts on the day for Pineda, and Tim Beckham was one of them.
This would be a nice save for Pineda right here. One out and a man on third. Now finds himself in a strikeout position.
The 1-2. High and away, 2-2. Especially the way the runners got on this inning, too. A single against the shift the other way, and then a ground ball that caroms off of Didi. Turns into a double as it ricocheted into left field.
Got to believe the slider's coming right here.
The 2-2. Grounded to third. Runner coming home. Headley going to first, and that was the right play. He had no chance to cut down Steven Souza. So an RBI ground out for Beckham, and it's 2-0 Rays.
Good base running from Souza, as you see. Does not hesitate. And right here, I think part of the problem, too, is Headley's got a short hop there and doesn't quite have the handle on it. If he gets it clean and makes a strike at home, then it still would have been a close play. But a little bit of a juggle, too, and Headley getting the handle on it would have been a really difficult play. Souza, good base running, good speed. Another look. Souza off to the races.
And that's why it didn't seem like he had a play, because there was that initial juggle or getting the handle of it, and by the time he did.
That was the second hop. This hop right there. And you can see Headley kind of juggles just a bit and then reads it, and probably reads it correctly.
Roll to second, and that'll do it. But the Rays able to scrape across a couple of runs. It's 2-0 Tampa Bay. Your Tri-Honda dealer. Hurry into your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on a 2016 model. By Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. And by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers, Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Boy, that car is moving fast. Taking those turns very tightly.
It's Andrew Miller driving to Cleveland right now. There you go. Slow down.
Andrew did say he would travel tonight and get there for tomorrow's contest. There's Rob Refsnyder. Loops that foul. Refsnyder's second start of the series, had one in right field, now starting at first. Rolled a single off of Longoria in his first at bat.
It's been interesting to watch Refsnyder this year develop into a potential super utility guy as opposed to the answer at second base. And the obvious trade for Starlin Castro changed everything.
Down looking. Seventh strikeout for Snell. It's the best way to start your weekday. Join Suki, Scott, and the Pix 11 News team with breaking news, traffic, and sports. Linda Church's weather reports keep you in the know mornings from 6 to 9 on the Pix 11 Morning News, bringing you the heart of the story. Hicks rolls that foul. Well, you're right, David. It's a different role than expected for Refsnyder now. We see him starting multiple positions.
Yeah, I mean, he's got something to look forward to in the Yankees, a potential spot on this roster, even going into next year. The more versatile you become, the more valuable you are.
Here's Hicks fouling off 0-2. A lot of people have made the Ben Zobrist, not comparison, but goal to strive for. Had many successful years here in Tampa Bay. Could put him so many positions on the field and also feel like his defense was more than adequate there, in addition to his outstanding offense. Hicks holds up. Snell has gone more than 6 innings just once thus far in his 8 big league starts. And the pitch count at 83 with 1 out here in the 5th. Swing and a miss, and he cheesed that right by Hicks. 8th strikeout for Snell.
Kid's got some stuff.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Just life on all of his pitches. He's been very impressive. A lot of funny swings from the Yankees all day long.
Yankees have 4 hits, all of them singles. Brett Gardner has one of them, also has a walk, homered yesterday, and looks at strike 1. Strike 2.
You know, as you watch a performance by a rookie pitcher like this from Snell, If you're looking at the Rays situation, their surplus is obviously pitching. A lot of rumors out there today, a little uneasiness in their clubhouse. Chris Archer, rumors.
Matt Moore as well.
So their surplus is pitching. They keep pumping out good young starting pitching. Jake Odorizzi's in that boat as well.
Drew Smiley, some teams have talked about.
So if you're the Rays, I'm sure they feel compelled to try to find the right deal as well. And Chris Archer, very valuable. Well, you don't give him up. It's got to be a blockbuster trade.
Archer himself said the other day, hey, I can't expect all of us to stay together. When you look at our team's history, we know the deal here with our starting pitchers. And deadline deals, and not letting us get to free agency. Wants to stay. They all want to, but understands the reality of the situation. Swing and a miss, and there's another one of those funny looking swings that David was talking about. Snell strikes out the side for the second time this afternoon.
Was a big part of the return in the Andrew Miller deal, and at 21 years of age, we know he is big on social media. He wrote earlier today on Twitter, "Thank you, Yankees, for making this amazing opportunity. I can't wait to chase my dreams in pinstripes." Followed by this, guys. You can appreciate the style, but the hair and the beard very un-Yankee-like. Time for a haircut. Ha, ha, ha. And he is pretty familiar with Yankee land. Back in 2013, right before the draft, a bunch of guys actually came to Yankee Stadium, and there are pictures of him out there at Monument Park touring the stadium. So maybe he will get a closer look in the near future.
Yeah, he is headed right to AAA, so as David was talking about before, maybe not that far away from getting into pinstripes. That hair is something, though. I like how he embraced it right away. It's gone. Grounded hard, backhand stab by Gregorius, the throw in time, and that's a nice play from Didi Gregorius to retire Maley.
Designated hitter, Logan Forsythe.
Such a fast infield down here with the field turf. Seen some funny hops all weekend long. Gregorius on that smash, almost go down to one knee just to make sure. Coming in hot.
I was actually talking with Chase Headley about that yesterday and the difference between this turf and some others. He said the stranger part or the different part about this is you will get some balls that play like true ground balls. Whereas in Toronto, you can almost anticipate everything coming up high. So we've seen some hops like that, but we've also seen some balls stay down here.
Yeah, the one in Toronto is a little more spongy. It's as old school as it gets right there. AstroTurf.
Swing and a miss. 3 pitches and Forsythe is retired. 7th strikeout for Michael Pineda.
The shortstop, Brad Miller.
The 2 runs allowed by Pineda last inning came after a couple of ground ball singles. And then RBI groundouts from Kiermaier and Beckham. As Miller shows bunt, pulls it back. Did he go around? He did. 0-2.
Really has been a pitcher's duel on both sides. Pineda's had good stuff as well. Pretty close to breaking a plane right there. That was borderline.
And Pineda happy the pendulum swung his way. The 0-2. Little out, maybe a little up with the fastball. Quality 0-2 offering. It's 1-2.
And Michael Pineda came into this game with 135 strikeouts on the year, which was good for 5th in the AL. He's got 7 more now, looking for number 8. Well, once again, good stuff from Pineda.
The problem has not been the pitching lately, no doubt about that. The Yankees bats very quiet in this series. It's 4 runs thus far. That's drilled deep right, and it's gone over the tank in right center field. Brad Miller with his 17th home run of the year, and it finds its way amongst the Stingrays.
And yes, Major League Baseballs do float.
Third baseman,
All you need to do is just hear the sound off the bat. That'll make you duck on the mound.
Sound.
Nothing like it. A wood bat in a Major League Baseball. Dunk.
Longoria trying to test the limits, but foul. Well, Brad Miller yesterday hit his 16th home run, and initially the Rays PR said new record for Rays shortstop, then realized he was DHing. So they fish out the ball and say, well, 16 is the most by a player who played the majority of his games at shortstop, but now Miller is left no doubt with his 17th of the season and 16th as a shortstop. That is a Rays record for that position. Swing and a miss. Longoria down on strikes. 8th K for Pineda, but he is not happy with himself. We know he's been victimized by the long ball at times this year, and is again as Miller goes deep. Coverage of the Subway Series begins at 6:30 right here on New York's Home for Baseball. Picks 11. Well, Michael Pineda has been sharp today. He's had good stuff, but victimized by the long ball last inning, and has allowed 3 runs through 5. The Yankees in a 3-0 hole. Blake Snell with a high pitch count relative to the inning. Delivers strike 1. Struck out the side in the 5th. His 9 strikeouts have matched a career high.
I think sometimes you can get fooled when players play in Seattle. Big ballpark. Brad Miller out in Seattle, his career high was 11 home runs last year. I did not realize he had that much pop. We've seen 2 very long home runs here in this series from him.
And a double and a triple as well. Well, that's been sort of the juggling act for the Rays at that position as Xavier Cedeno warms. Tim Beckham, who's gotten hot and is a former #1 overall pick. And then Brad Miller, who is in his first year with the Rays but has really produced.
Park adjusted factors are big in the metrics. I think OPS plus applies to Brad Miller, playing in Seattle, now here in Tampa. It's one of the keys that I look at. You know, we've seen it over the years in minor league ballparks, especially guys that play out in Vegas in the Pacific Coast League, or the numbers are skewed because home runs are so easy to hit out there, light air. Different, trying to compare players from different ballparks. Wrigley Field, I make my living at Wrigley Field. That's a tough place to be a pitcher.
Yeah.
Even Yankee Stadium with the short porch. So park adjusted factors very important in trying to compare players, stats on all levels.
How about if you're a left-handed power hitter trying to go yard at AT&T?
Exactly.
The 3-2 is fouled off.
Ooh. I'm just gonna leave that right there.
Got to give the man some time. The 3-2 inside, and Ellsbury walks. Hey, today's high-speed pitch comes from Fios. Visit getfios.com. That ball 4 was 96 miles an hour from Blake Snell, and that's going to get Jim Hickey out there. Keeping score in the stands with a pen. It's dangerous business. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Here's Beltran. Infield single in his last at bat. Average at 303. That is cloaked. Deep left. And gone. Carlos Beltran with his 22nd home run of the year. And he takes a changeup from Blake Snell out to left. And that scorecard now is a double diamond thanks to Carlos Beltran.
Well, what new? Carlos Beltran again. This is what you call speeding up the bat on a changeup that doesn't have enough off of it. Just kind of sits right there and allows Beltran to get the barrel of the bat out in front and drive it. One of the few mistakes that Snell has made today, and he pays for it. Wrong guy to make the mistake to.
A laser out to left. And the 414th career home run for Carlos Beltran.
Changeup that just doesn't change up. Just sits right there, turns into what they call a batting practice fastball. You can see Beltran get out in front of that. Allows him to speed up his bat.
Castro fights that off into right. Souza will put it away. It was the first real mistake of the game for Blake Snell. And Beltran took advantage. And that'll do it for Snell. Pitch count at 101. A very impressive outing. Career high tying 9 strikeouts, but Carlos Beltran has made it a 1-run game. Donuts. America runs on Duncan. And Xavier Cedeno called on to relieve Blake Snell. Delivers strike one to Brian McCann.
Nice year. 32 strikeouts, 32 2/3 innings.
Saw Cedeno in the first game of this series. Kevin Jepson getting going for the Rays, as well as you see the line on Blake Snell. That is complete. He was very impressive. Pitch count obviously high, but he had some electric stuff.
Yeah, some of the funniest swings that the Yankees have had all year long, really. Half swings, check swings, getting fooled.
McCann grounds it right back to Cedeno. 2 outs. Rays entered this series with the 5th highest bullpen ERA in baseball, but they do have Brad Boxberger also back in that pen. and an all-star closer in Alex Colomé, although he was used in each of the first 2 games of this series. Headley looks at ball 1. Headley singled in his last at bat to load the bases before Didi Gregorius hit a rocket, but right to second. That started an inning-ending double play. There's 3-0 on Headley.
You know, we mentioned all the prospect haul that the Yankees have brought in, the Chapman trade, obviously, and the Miller trade. And really, organizationally speaking, the Yankees are in the top 5 collectively with their record from top to bottom. All of their minor league franchises having successful years this year. So clearly on the right move in terms of rebuilding their farm system. Already was on the way back. Already was very highly rated and very successful this year. Scranton, Trenton, both A-ball teams, and Charleston and Tampa having good years.
Headley walks. Yeah, you wonder where those rankings are going to go now for this system after the additions for both the Chapman deal and the Miller deal.
Shortstop, Didi Gregorius.
It's a good situation when you have minor league teams that have success and they get playoff exposure in the minor leagues as well. Very important. Big pride factor. You know, Ryan, I spent 5 years in the minor leagues, and playing in the playoffs in the minor leagues is a big deal. Trying to win a championship on every level, A-ball, AA, it means a lot. It's a great experience, and the Yankees are in a position to do that on several levels this year.
Gregorius rolls it to second. That'll end the inning, but Carlos Beltran does something he's now done 414 times. Goes yard, a 2-run shot. It's a 3-2 game. Time for the out-of-town scores, brought to you by Nissan. Shop ChooseNissan.com. The Orioles and Blue Jays tied at 2 in the top of the 7th. Detroit thumping the Astros. The Indians, Andrew Miller's new team, on top of the A's 7-0. Miami in front of St. Louis. Minnesota with the lead on the White Sox, and the Mets up 3-2 on Colorado.
I still like that Detroit team, that lineup still, with Miguel Cabrera in the middle of that lineup, Ian Kinsler having a great year leading off. I see them as a dangerous team if they get anything going in their bullpen. As they get some leads, the problem's always been the bullpen in Detroit. They've been playing much better lately. That's a team to watch.
They're up to 8 games over 500, and they're just 4.5 behind the Indians.
Motivation for the Indians to make the trades they've made.
Big swing from Dickerson, who's 2 for 2. A double off the wall and right center, and then a single beating the shift just past Headley. The 1-1. Line to left. Gardner drifts back and puts it away. And Brad Boxberger, last year's American League leader in saves, warming up for the Rays. We have not seen him yet since being activated off the DL. But poised to come into this game. There's Steven Souza Jr. You know, David, we talked about the exciting player that Clint Frazier, the #1 prospect in the group the Yankees got back, is. But also Justice Sheffield, the pitcher they got, who's up to 69 on the midseason MLB or Baseball America rankings. As Souza Jr. strokes that to right. Hicks gonna fire in. He has a cannon, shows it off, but Gregorius cannot hold on, and Souza is on second with a double.
See, Gregorius is a little upset with himself, and Hicks is showing off here. We've seen him do this before. Gets to it with his speed and just a little bit of a short hop, but Gregorius picks it and gets it knocked out with Souza's knee. Souza decides not to slide, and just the contact knocks the ball loose. Very unorthodox. I mean, he got the pick, he's fine. Souza's dead out, and he just stops, decides not to slide, gonna do something trick. No trick necessary, just the knee knocks the ball out of the glove. Very lucky on Souza's part. But Hicks, an outstanding play and throw.
And Souza's a little shaken up.
Very dangerous play by Souza, actually. I mean, to pull up like that and not slide, and to put him in a position to get injured. I think he was surprised by the throw from Hicks.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously all the way he's thinking 2. He's not hesitating. And then all of a sudden he thinks he's going to be in there. Wow, how did the ball get there so quick? And very unusual play from Souza. Like he was completely caught off guard, and then of course he's lucky that the ball got knocked loose from Gregorius' glove.
And he is going to stay in. So a double with 1 out here in the 6th for Souza Jr. And that'll bring up Kevin Kiermaier, who has walked and stolen a base, also driven in a run.
You know, if the Yankees can't quite get Hicks's bat going, they might want to try him on the bullpen mound down there. You know, it might be a good short reliever with that kind of arm strength.
He has a cannon. No, David, I was starting to say, you know, one of the other big prospects, Justice Sheffield. Brian Cashman also glowed about him when talking about him on the conference call, saying he is just super competitive, as 3 major league pitches, throws 92 to 95 miles an hour, an athletic left-hander. Not as far along in the process as Clint Frazier, but another guy the Yankees are very excited about from today's deal.
one guy I've kept my eye on in the Yankee system this year, Ryan, is Chance Adams, young starter in the system. 11-0 on the year. Started out in A-ball, and he's 6-0 in Double-A in the low 2s ERA. Mid-90s fastball. He's really somebody to watch. Chance Adams, and I think he should probably be on one of those top prospects lists before much longer. And he clearly can project in the middle, or maybe even a 2 or 3 major league starter. And he's in Double-A now, so another big arm in the Yankee system that has really made progress this year. Somebody to watch.
And David, that is exciting for fans. Young talent. That was something Brian Cashman said as well when he was asked about the fan component of this deal. He said, I think the players we got back are very exciting for our fans. And we've seen sort of that shift in a very loud portion of Yankee fans that are more than comfortable but excited by a new wave of talent that could be coming because of these deals. As Kiermaier walks, and they're now 2 on with 1 out. And Joe Girardi will get on the horn.
Second baseman, Tim Beckham.
Luis Severino stirring in the Yankees pen.
Been waiting for him all weekend. I want to see this kid out of the bullpen. What a big arm. Looks to be much improved from his recent stint down in the minor leagues in AAA.
Here's Tim Beckham. Check swing roller to first. Rev Snyder has 1 play. And will touch up the bag. The runners advance with 2 outs now. Here is Nick Franklin.
You know, you and I have talked about it, Ryan. You know, success is success.
Yeah.
You know, Severino's probably a future starter, but every bit of success he has is good. Whether it's in the 8th inning, you know, getting a couple strikeouts, or a couple of innings here and there until you can get him back in the rotation.
Yankees are going to walk Franklin. Well, you always talk about the value that your time in the bullpen early on in your career had for you then throughout your career as a starter.
Absolutely. You know, you learn a lot on the big league level. Severino has been humbled this year. Went down and did what he had to do in AAA. Now he's back. It's not a bad idea to ease him back into the rotation through the bullpen. And needless to say, the Yankees need arms in the pen now.
The other night, that slider looked encouraging. Nick Franklin put aboard. And that'll set up Pineda against the rookie catcher, Luke Maile.
Obvious move here. Pineda so devastated with that slider on right-handed batters. Go ahead and take the chance. Walk the bases loaded, 2 out. And let Pineda, with his good control, attack. Maile here, the catcher.
Pineda trying to hold this game right here. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Pitch. Grounded towards the middle and through into center field for a base hit. That will score 2. On to third goes Franklin, and it's a 5-2 game after the 2-run single by Luke Maile.
We'll give Maile credit. He doesn't hit it hard, but he hits it in the right spot. Good job of fighting that pitch off. Took about 3 or 4 hops and got right through the middle. So Classic seeing eye ground ball hit. Another tough break late in the game for the Yankees, who fight to get back in it, and then one step forward, two steps back. Kind of the story of the Yankee season so far.
And so the deficit is 3 again. Here's Forsythe. And this has been Pineda's season. You know, so much of this outing, David, has been impressive. So many swings and misses. The strikeouts have piled up. First couple of runs on some ground balls, but at the end of the day, he has given up at least 5 runs.
Yeah, one booming home run in there for effect out to the Rays tank.
Swing and a miss from Forsythe,
which was the 20th that he's given up this year.
in the air to center. Ellsbury over towards right center to put it away and end the inning. But the Rays score a couple more off Michael Pineda, and it's a 5-2 Tampa Bay lead. The Yankees acquired Michael Pineda along with Jose Campos in the deal where they sent Jesus Montero to Seattle. Now, today, the Yankees traded Jose Campos, although he is no longer Jose, he is now Vicente. So same guy, different name. Vicente Campos goes to the Diamondbacks in exchange for Tyler Clippard. And so the Yankees get another veteran piece to add to that bullpen as they've dealt Miller and Chapman. The line score brought to you by your Tri-State Ford dealers. Tampa Bay the 5-2 lead after answering the Yankees 2 on the Carlos Beltran home run with 2 of their own off of Michael Pineda. And Brad Boxberger, his first appearance back off the DL. Into the game for the Rays. He's only made 1 appearance this season. Started the year on the DL, came back and immediately went back on. Ref Snyder hammers that into left center, but cutting over to catch it is Dickerson for the out. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'.
Now I'm hungry. I want some glazed donuts. Boxberger, you see, as Ryan said, one game. He had 41 saves last year. Really a breakout year last year.
By the way, you're not O'Neill, but you usually munch on something during the game. You've gone snack free today.
Yeah, I'm on a water diet.
Gotcha.
Flushing out last night.
Toddy time. Hicks has popped out and struck out. And is behind 1-2. And the pitch. Nice swing from Hicks.
I think one of the things with Aaron Hicks this year is, obviously everybody sees the talent. He's a switch hitter, speed. We've seen the cannon for an arm in the outfield this year, but he doesn't have any options left. So kind of sporadic playing time. There was no opportunity to send him to AAA to get some regular at-bats. And you risk losing him on waivers if you try to send him down. So the only option the Yankees have is to kind of stick with him and try to get him going. You mentioned Brian Cashman said that on his conference call today. All year long they've been trying to get Aaron Hicks going.
Brought up Jackie Bradley Jr.
It's been a season-long plight, though, as over 200 at-bats, a 188 average. So they're trying to get somebody going, and then there's hanging on. That's a significant portion of the season, over 200 at-bats and limited production.
Now, the reason Brian Cashman brought up the Bradley Jr. example is back in 2014, in 384 at-bats, he hit 198, and then came back the next year and only played in 74 games, but had a little more success. Hit just 249, but an 832 OPS, which is a very good number. And then finally, this year, playing every day, had an all-star year and currently hitting 295 with 17 homers and an OPS over 900.
It's a valid point from Brian Cashman in terms of patience. One of the toughest things for organizations to have.
We saw patience bear fruit with Didi Gregorius. Not to say that it's going to turn for Hicks. Maybe it won't. But last year in the beginning of the season, Gregorius really struggled, and now he's become a force. Hicks still searching for that. His second strikeout of the game. He's 0 for 3. Hey, MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD, over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to App Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Here's Gardner, 1 for 2, is singled, walked, and struck out. Strike 1. Good off-speed delivery. Had Gardner flinching, and it's 1-2.
Signature Boxberger changeup. Good action on it, down and away. Good fade, good depth. It's a pitch that really worked for him last year in the 41 save season.
Gardner rips that into right center field for a base hit. He'll take a wide turn and hang on. 2-out single for Brett Gardner. Gardner's bat started to get going over these last few games.
Hit his 7th home run in yesterday's game. 2 hits here today.
Jacoby Ellsbury trying to get on and give Carlos Beltran another crack with men on. Ellsbury delivers into right center. Gardner will scoot to third easily, and Carlos Beltran will come up as the tying run.
We've seen Ellsbury be very aggressive really the entire year. Actually swings at a pitch off the plate. This is probably ball 1. But Ellsbury gets enough of it to get it back up the middle. I think that's probably the one criticism of Ellsbury this year that people talk about is his uber aggressiveness early in the count and chasing bad pitches. But this is the previous at bat for Beltran. On the changeup from Snell, got the Yankees right back in the game with a 2-run home run.
Now a chance from the left side. The numbers outstanding this season for Carlos Beltran. Another one of those potential commodities as we near the trade deadline tomorrow at 4 p.m. Runners on the corners, 2 out. Boxberger deals strike 1. Erasmo Ramirez throwing for Tampa Bay. The 0-1 to Beltran. Right there, 0-2.
I'll give Boxberger credit. He's got a really good changeup and 2 straight fastballs right down the middle. Beltran looking for something else.
So what does he get? 0-2. Beltran lifts that down the left field line. A long run for Dickerson. He won't get there. It's foul. Dickerson playing over towards the left center field gap a bit.
Just a lot of square footage to cover in this outfield and foul territory.
Runners on the corners, 2 out, 0-2. The pitch, runner goes. Doesn't matter. Beltran swings through it, and that'll end the threat. So Boxberger works into some trouble with 2 outs, but Beltran goes down swinging. And the Yankees unable to score here in the 7th. And we will keep it right here for God Bless America.
Julian, as he performs God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my
Brought to you by the Rams Summer Clearance Event. Michael Pineda allowed 5 runs over 6 innings to have 8 strikeouts. Blake Snell was tough. The only blemish, a 2-run homer from Carlos Beltran. And Luke Maile, a 2-run single off Pineda. That gave the Rays a bit of separation in the bottom of the 6th. It's a 5-2 game in the bottom of the 7th as Luis Severino takes the hill. His second relief appearance since getting recalled. See the numbers on the season. Most of that coming from his first 7 starts here. Missed just off with the 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Brad Miller has tortured the Yankees in this series. Has a home run this afternoon. You got your wish, David. You've been looking forward to seeing Severino out of the pen in this series.
Yes, very much keen on him. You know, the lanes, 97 miles an hour, outside, inside corner, and more depth to that slider is what we're looking for.
A 2-2. Swing and a miss. 98 miles an hour, and Severino retires Miller on strikes.
Well, you can't teach talent, and this is just right on by. He's shooting for the outside corner, but he's got enough mustard on it, as Miller is clearly late. Man, what a nice arm. Easy gas.
Like that. Longoria behind it, 0-1. Longoria 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts. Talked about him as a potential trade target in the first game of this series, but you haven't heard any rumors surfacing about him. Ooh. Severino is just gassing.
Severino really never faced any adversity throughout his minor league career until this year. It's the first time he really got to hand it to him.
Grounded to Gregorius. The pirouette and toss in time. 2 out. Let's take a look at that pitch by pitch.
Yeah, good hitter, Evan Longoria. Severino, young phenom. Fastball, here it is, late. Up the ladder, right on by. Let's try a little slider. Broke his bat on the end. Gregorius picks him up the middle. So that's the kind of stuff Severino has. I mean, he can mow you down in a hurry. But as I was saying before, it's the first time he really faced adversity. I mean, he really got it handed to him earlier this year. 0-7. You saw the numbers, 7 ERA. He got knocked out of the big leagues. And went down and did what he had to do.
Slider for a strike.
Much better action on that slider right there. More depth. One thing Paul O'Neill said when he saw Severino was you could tell out of his hand whether it was going to be a strike or a ball. There was nothing that looked like a strike that would dive out of the zone. Early returns on his slider since he's been back are very much improved. One of the keys to pitching is to throw strikes that look like balls and balls that look like strikes. And your slider that sits there, it looks like it's there and then it's gone out of the zone, is what Severino's trying to develop.
You can see Brian McCann telling him there, calm down. A 2-1. Up again with the heater. 3-1. The 3-1 Swing and a miss. 98 again from Severino, and just said, here it is, hit it.
Love the front side. Notice the glove side, how high that is. A strong front side that develops power. That's how you speed up your arm. A good, strong front side. Throw that glove out and pound that lead side down. One of the underrated facets of pitching is the glove side, the front side. Watch, this is coming at you. Watch him throw that glove up there, then bring that left elbow down to drive your right arm up. That generates arm speed.
Here's the 3-2 from Severino. 99 that time, and Dickerson doing all he can to stay alive.
There are some people who have seen Severino pitch that think he'd be a great closer too. There's obviously more value in a frontline starter, a potential #1 starter. Closers are pretty valuable now too, as we found out in the recent trades.
The payoff? 99 to the backstop, and Severino walks Dickerson with 2 outs.
Just overthrowing, a little excited. You know, the ability to learn the lesson of less is more sometimes. Back off just a bit. The hard one for young pitchers with great arms to learn.
David, when you talk about him mechanically and the way he finishes to generate that power, is that easily repeatable?
I think so. I think his mechanics are solid. I really do. I think he just overthrows. I think it's more emotional and excitability. From the stretch position, very simple. I just like the front side. The good, you know, every pitcher gets in what they call a T position, where the glove is out and the arm is out.
That's driven to right center and deep. Ellsbury will flag it down. Nice running grab from the Yankees center fielder. Souza Jr. displeased. Ellsbury with a nice play to end the 7th as Severino works the scoreless frame. Brought to you by ChevyOffers.com. Some damage from the top of the order, but not much elsewhere. Beltran's 2-run homer, the 1 run-producing hit, and the 1 extra base hit that the Yankees have. so far this afternoon. New pitcher for Tampa Bay, Erasmo Ramirez. Strike one to Castro. Ramirez pitched yesterday. He recorded 1 out while giving up 2 hits. Make that Friday when he pitched.
Ramirez is coveted by a lot of teams. His name's bandied about in trade rumors because he can do both. He can start or relieve. Good control.
Last year he made 27 starts. Was 11-6 with a 3.75 ERA. Allowed just 145 hits and 163 in a third innings. The 1-2. Castro chases. Going to be a tough play. Longoria bare hands and heaves too high. Castro takes off for second, and he will make it. Should be a single and then an E5 on Longoria.
Well, Longo thinks he can make every play. And this is one you probably should have stuck in your hip pocket, but he goes ahead and tries anyway, and Castro's already by the bag by the time the airmail comes in. And this is a field where you do need good backup because there's a lot of foul territory, so give Souza credit. In right field, got over there.
So the Yankees with their leadoff runner on. For the 5th time today. McCann smashes that through the vacated left side, beats the shift, and I'll have an RBI single as a result as Castro scores.
From the overhead, first pitch fastball away, vacated shortstop, nobody at home. Easy RBI.
McCann has done that with incredible regularity. He is not afraid to take advantage of that gaping hole on the left side. Here's Headley as the tying run. Well, you do wonder if he does it enough, David, at some point, does it alter the defense?
Well, that's the point, right? You got to put the onus back on the defense to make adjustments. And certainly there's a balance. You still want McCann hitting home runs. You still want your home run hitters hitting home runs. But there's certain points in the game where it's so easy to take advantage of, especially in this type of game when you need runs, you're down. It's a gift.
Kevin Jepson was up earlier. Headley fists that to second. Could be 2 and is.
Well, good pitch, jams them, no doubt about it. 4-6-3, pitcher's best friend.
Yankees have hit into 3 costly double plays today. First to end the 3rd with 2 on, to end the 4th with the bases loaded, and now to end a little blossoming momentum here in the 8th. Neely going to come out and chat with Ramirez after strike 1. Gregorius hit into one of those double plays back in the 4th with the bases loaded and 1 out. It was unlucky. Hit it hard, but right at second. One and 2.
Nothing more deflating than a double play ball, right? Rally killer. It's a good pitch from Ramirez. Really tied up Headley. You give Ramirez credit on that. Actually, there were some people who, a couple of years ago, you know, it's always been kind of the Mike Trout and Miguel Cabrera MVP race a few years ago, almost year in and year out. Some people thought that Mike Trout got the edge because Miguel Cabrera and some of the metrics hit into 28 double plays that year, which counted against him. Mike Trout had much fewer that particular year. That's how the voting's going nowadays. You know, the old school and the new school are colliding, and I think the biggest example of that is when Felix Hernandez won the Cy Young Award with a 12-11 record or 13-12 record a few years back. So the whole dynamic has changed.
Now every number is looked into and factored. You're not just going batting average, home runs, ribbies for your MVP.
No doubt about it. There's a lot of baseball writers who have votes that are factoring in just about every piece of information they can get, and then there are some diehard old schoolers too that are holding out.
OPS plus is a number that a lot of front offices will tell you they use that as a big time evaluative tool.
Yes, that's obviously you see the scribes.
Got some new school, got some old school in there. Gregorius lines that to center. Kiermaier will put it away, and that'll do it here in the top of the 8th. The Yankees get one, but a big double play helps Ramirez out. By ChevyOffers.com. Brad Miller, a solo home run, his second of the series. Big games for Dickerson and Souza Jr. And that's really where the damage has been for the Tampa lineup. Kevin Kiermaier has gotten in the mix with a couple of walks and a ribby. And he leads off here against Severino in his second inning of work. It's Game started by Michael Pineda, went 6 innings, allowed 5 runs, struck out 8. Gave up a 2-out, 2-run single to Luke Maile that just snuck through the middle in the 6th inning. And made a 3-2 game a 5-2 game. It's 5-3 now. Headley chases, has room, and cannot haul it in. Overran it, tried to hang with it, and it just popped out of the glove.
Well, you're staring up at a white roof. You see him, he kind of puts his hands up and lost it there for a minute and then tries to readjust and actually catches it, but the ground causes the fumble. So by NBA and NFL standards, right, that is not a catch.
Incomplete.
But clearly Headley lost it in the ceiling here about halfway through.
Here's the 3-1. Back our way again. Right over our heads. I think I'm just overeager now after our close call earlier.
Yes, you know, we're right in line here.
We really are.
Could easily happen.
Here's the payoff. Castro puts it away. 1 out here in the 8th. And here's Tim Beckham, 0 for 3 on the day. Did have an RBI ground out in the 4th. Yankees relied so heavily on getting outstanding starting pitching when they rattled off 8 wins in 10 games. And they had 8 of 9 games where their starters allowed 2 runs or fewer, but that has not been the case in this series. Nova struggled. Evaldi was pretty good yesterday. 3 runs in 6 innings. Pineda gives up 5 today. And not enough offense to make up for that drop off from the excellence that we had seen during that little spurt for the Yankees from their starting pitching.
Yeah, great point, Ryan. I mean, we've seen this story before. It's becoming Groundhog Day. You fall behind, you fight back and get back in it, and 2 steps forward, or 1 step forward rather, 2 steps back. And
1-1. High and in to Beckham with 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
still a lot of unanswered questions too as we get through this deadline period. Potentially, you know, over the next several hours, will there be, what other moves will be made, and then beyond that, what is the future of some of the guys that are left? What is the future of Alex Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Four home runs away from 700 for his career.
3-1. 3-2.
They're all legitimate questions to ask in terms of moving forward. Now that you've made the decision to pull the plug on Chapman and Miller and whatever else happens, how do you put that man and this team in a position to still make a run, to still compete? As Joe Girardi says, we're going to go out there and compete.
He brought up his Marlins team the one year he managed there. So everyone thought we were going to lose 100 games. We were fighting for the playoffs until the final week of the season. So you never know. Sometimes these things work out a little differently than you think. Castro fires across, and he has the first two putouts of this eighth. It is now 4 o'clock Eastern, which means we are 23 hours and 59 minutes away from the trade deadline.
when we get past that deadline, what is the best roster moving forward for the Yankees here?
Are there guys who end up with a couple of months of big league time, looking ahead to what could be next year?
There are a lot of candidates in AAA that could potentially help this roster. Guys having good years down there.
Ben Gamel, one of them. Jake Cave.
Tyler Austin.
The 1-1. 98 miles an hour from Severino.
And also, who goes in the rotation if one of the Yankee starters is traded, whether it's Ivan Nova. What is this roster going to be like, and what is the best way forward? All questions to be determined.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss. 99 miles an hour, and Severino fired up. He throws 2 scoreless innings in relief. The Yankees looking to climb back down 2. Begins at Citi Field, and yes, we'll have complete coverage as the Yankees take on Yoenis Cespedes and the Mets. Subway Series coverage starts at 6 o'clock on Yes with Audi batting practice today in the Chevy pregame and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Well, top of the 9th inning, Alex Colomé on, trying to save all 3 games in this series. And the Yankees will begin with a pinch hitter in Mark Teixeira. And Alex Rodriguez is on deck to pinch hit as well. Teixeira hitting for Ref Snyder and looks at ball 1. Yankees trying to come back on Tampa and avoid the sweep here against the last place Rays. 1-1. Now it is the 3rd straight appearance for Colomé, but he only threw 5 pitches Friday, 15 yesterday. Teixeira grounds it right into the shift. 1 out. Alex Rodriguez, after an 0 for 4 day yesterday, with 4 strikeouts, said I didn't do myself any favors in trying to get more at bats. Became the first player with 4 strikeouts as a teenager and in his 40s in big league history. Takes a big cut and misses.
That's a good bad stat, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like Kobe Bryant having the most misses in NBA history.
You got to be pretty good to take all those shots
and play that long. The 0-1. 0-2. Here's the 0-2 to Rodriguez. Did he go? No.
I'm often reminded of a Reggie Jackson quote in these types of situations with Alex Rodriguez. He said Reggie would never take a bad pass. He said, I might swing and miss, but you're going to see a big swing down on one knee even when I strike out. It's going to look good striking out. Nothing worse than looking bad striking out. Fooled, missed, check swing.
Here's the 1-2. And it's 2-2. Rodriguez trying to get on for Brett Gardner as the Yankees would turn things over to the top of the order. Rodriguez pinch hitting in the 9 spot for Hicks. Here's the 2-2. Strike 3 got him swinging 96 miles an hour, and Rodriguez is down on strikes.
Full swing late.
And so the struggles continue for Rodriguez. And it's left up to Brett Gardner. Gardner 2 for 3, a couple of singles and a walk. Coming into this series, we wondered what kind of role it might play in the Yankees' plans and the way they handle the trading deadline. After having won 4 of the previous 5 series against teams with winning records, the Yankees 1 out away from being swept by the last place Rays. 1-1.
The Yankees staring at falling right back to 500. They'd be 52-52 if they end up on the wrong end of this score as it stands.
High chopper, foul, and the Yankees are down to their final strike.
Big difference, Ryan, coming in here with momentum. If the shoe were on the other foot and the Yankees were sweeping, whole different ball game for them. Difference between being 6 games over 500 or right at 500. So that's how big this weekend was and how devastating this potential sweep is.
Here's the 1-2. Gardner stays alive. You don't know exactly what that would have meant for Andrew Miller.
I think you still probably make those trades, you know, from Brian Cashman's standpoint, but moving forward, 6 games over 500, shooting for a wild card, trying to stay in the division race. Now you've fallen all the way back to 500, and you've lost your 2 best relievers. So you've lost that momentum.
Here's the 1-2. Did he go? He did. Ball game. Rays win it 5-3, and the Yankees get swept here in St. Pete.